Winter was a challenge in homes long before the hum of radiators and central heating systems. Families had to rely on resourcefulness, timing, and a deep understanding of their environment to survive the cold nights. One simple rule governed the rhythm of winter life, a rule every household instinctively followed, and it shaped how people slept, stayed warm, and preserved energy throughout the harsh months. The rule was simple. Go to bed at the coldest hour of the night, not the warmest. It may seem counterintuitive today. Modern homes encourage evening lounging and late-night comfort in heated rooms. But before central heating, the entire household understood the practical logic of timing sleep with the natural drop of nighttime temperatures. Families structured their evenings to ensure they climbed into bed after the coldest period had passed. Typically, this was just after midnight, when the air in uninsulated homes reached its lowest temperature. Going to bed too early meant facing the night's most bitter chill awake and missing the period when your bed could retain warmth efficiently. This rule worked because households mastered thermal inertia, the way materials absorb, retain, and release heat. Beds, especially those layered with straw, feathers, or wool, were allowed to, pre-warm in anticipation of sleep. People would light a small fire, heat stones, or boil water to place in bedpans, then retreat until the warmth had been distributed in the room or bedding. By the time the family got into bed, their environment was at a predictable, manageable temperature. They layered strategically to beat the cold. No modern duvet could compare to the layered ingenuity of a pre-central heating winter bed. People didn't rely on just one blanket or mattress. They created a sort of thermal ecosystem. Sheets, wool blankets, straw mattresses, and feather beds were stacked to maximize insulation. Clothing was integrated into bedding strategy. Nightshirts, wool socks, and even shawls or caps were standard. This layering system worked in tandem with the bedtime rule. Families, would synchronize their sleep schedules so that the coldest hours happened when they were already bundled up, really minimizing their exposure to the night's chill, while also maximizing the body heat they could keep in. The practical application today is, pretty straightforward for anyone facing a cold winter. Even if you don't have a fireplace, using layered bedding along with a bit of strategic pre-warming, like a hot water bottle or maybe some heated stones wrapped in cloth, can actually replicate that centuries-old efficiency. Timing your sleep so that you get into bed after the room has reached its overnight low can make modern bedrooms feel a lot warmer, without having to crank the heaters all night long. Fires and bed warming weren't just luxury, they were survival tools. Before central heating, fires were not for ambiance. They were carefully controlled energy sources. Households would light stoves or hearth fires in the evening to provide warmth, then allow them to die down as the coldest hours approached. Stones were heated in the fire and placed under blankets or inside bedpans, and metal pots filled with hot water became portable radiators for individual beds. The objective was not constant warmth, but a time transfer of heat directly into sleeping quarters, coinciding with the one winter bedtime rule. For modern enthusiasts, this principle is easily applied. Heating blankets, hot water bottles, or even microwavable heat packs can be pre-positioned in the bed an hour or so before sleep, creating a warm microclimate that mirrors the historic strategy. The key lesson is efficiency, direct heat at the point of use, not heating the entire room for hours. Households also understood that their bodies were part of the thermal system. Evening meals were often consumed before the coldest hours, allowing digestion to generate internal heat. Activity was, minimized near bedtime, allowing the body to naturally cool down to the ideal temperature for sleep, which really helped reduce shivering and restlessness. In many rural homes, this meant a strict routine: dinner, chores, fire tending, and finally retreating to the pre-warm bed when the outside air had done its lowest dip. Applying this today can, optimize sleep in unheated spaces or drafty winter homes. Finish heavy meals early, engage in light activity like stretching or tidying, and enter a preheated bed just as the environment reaches its coolest, most stable temperature. Now, this approach not only saves energy, but, it also improves restorative sleep. That's really crucial in winter, especially when daylight is limited and the immune system is a bit more vulnerable. The ingenuity wasn't just about timing. Materials, they mattered just as much as schedules. Wool, linen, straw, feathers, and even fur were carefully chosen for their insulating properties. Homes often had layered bedding and multiple mattresses, sometimes stacked 3 or 4 deep, to trap heat efficiently. Feather beds, allowed air pockets to retain warmth, while straw mattresses provided both insulation and helped manage moisture. Combined with the timing rule, these materials created a self-contained thermal cocoon that was surprisingly effective even in sub-zero temperatures. Modern prepper applications include using heavy blankets, wool throws, insulated sleeping pads, or thermal liners. Even layering an old quilt beneath your mattress can emulate the insulating effect of a straw or feather bed. Timing your sleep to coincide with the thermal peak of your bedding creates maximum warmth without over-reliance on electricity or gas. In many households, everyone adhered to the same bedtime rhythm. Children, adults and elders synchronized their schedules to optimize warmth retention. Beds weren't just for sleep, they were living, breathing heat hubs. Sharing bed warmth, especially among children or couples, multiplied the rule's effectiveness. The collective approach ensured minimal energy waste and created a predictable, manageable environment during the dead of winter. For today's audience, shared strategies like close sleeping arrangements, insulated bedding setups, or even timing household heating to coincide with bedtime can, dramatically improve warmth without high energy bills. Even in modern apartments, replicating this historic coordination, lighting a single heat source, then timing entry into bed, keeps nights comfortable, really. The one winter bedtime rule teaches efficiency, preparation, and a profound understanding of thermal management. In an era of unlimited heating, it's easy to forget that warmth can be produced strategically rather than continuously. By timing sleep, layering intelligently and pre-warming beds, households could survive and even thrive through the coldest nights. For modern preppers, history buffs, or anyone facing harsh winters, this knowledge offers both practical and energy-conscious solutions. So, you can apply this in your home by, observing nighttime temperature dips, using targeted heat sources, layering your bedding, and aligning your sleep schedules. These little adjustments can make a real difference. You'll be replicating the centuries-old wisdom that kept generations alive and comfortable, even without the luxury of central heating. It's honestly remarkable how effective these old methods can be. For serious enthusiasts, this is more than just a historical curiosity. It's a tested survival strategy. Learn from the past, apply it in the present, and optimize your winter nights like those households who mastered the cold long before heaters ever existed. If you found this guide valuable, make sure to subscribe to Warfield Prepper Chronicles and hit like. Share it with friends and fellow history and survival enthusiasts so that more households can learn how to survive winter efficiently and, effectively.